try this again. Okay, so we're going to go through this step by step on how to make our letters. When you open up Inventor, it's going to come to a screen that looks like this. If you're not there, some of you guys are on a screen that says Start Working. Go ahead and just click on Start Working, and then it should get you to a screen that looks like this. Another option might be you might have to hit OK and then hit Start Working, depending on what screens you're at. But we're in the program called Autodesk Inventor. It has the icon that looks like a big I. Mine is right here. It says I, and it has the word Pro on it. That's the icon that you're at. So when you get to the screen, first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a new part file. So we're going to create a new object. So up here on the top left-hand corner is the button that says New. You're going to click on that. Yours will probably look like this screen right here, where it has a couple things up top and then some bunch of things down here in the bottom. This is if you're going to work in inches. We're not going to work in inches because when we work with 3D printing, everything that we do is going to be in millimeters because that's the way the printers think. So we have to tell the software we don't want to work in inches, we want to work in millimeters. So up here where it says template, there's a button that says metric. I'm going to click on that because now that says everything that we do is going to be in the metric or in millimeters. And then right here where it says standard mm.ipt, it's in this top right hand corner. I'm going to double click on that and it's going to open up this screen. Okay, it might take a little bit of time the first time you go through it, but after that it should load up pretty quick. Okay, once I click on that, it's going to open up to a gray blank workspace. So this is a three-dimensional workspace where I can create anything that I want. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Start 2D Sketch. Do not click on the words. I want you to click on the icon because when I click on the words, I have a drop-down menu. I don't want to worry about that, so simply click on the icon up top. Then 3 rectangles are going to pop on your screen. This basically represents the planes or a surface that you can start drawing on. I'm going to click the one that says XZ or the one that looks like it's on the floor. Now, for some reason, I do not know why, it always makes this, the word top not look correct. So I'm going to rotate my screen up here in this top corner by clicking on this arrow right here until the word top is displayed correctly. Okay. Now, with Inventor, I can always zoom in and out with my wheel. So the wheel of my mouse, if I roll it forward and backwards, that allows me to zoom the screen in and out. If I hold the wheel down and slide it side to side, that pans your screen or moves it side to side. So if you ever get to a point where you can't see what you're doing, you can simply roll your wheel in and out or hold the scroll wheel down on the mouse and it will allow it to go side to side. But now I have a sheet of paper that I can draw on. The first thing I'm going to draw is a rectangle. Up here there's a rectangle tool. I'm going to start on the dot in the center of my screen and I'm going to draw a rectangle any size. It doesn't matter what size it is. Now, if I ever need to get out of a tool, so right now it would want me to draw another rectangle. I am done drawing rectangles. So up on the top left-hand corner of your keyboard is the escape key, ESC. I can click on it a couple times and it will take me out of whatever tool I just used. That's a quick little tip that you're going to need. Once my rectangle is drawn, I'm going to dimension it. So basically I'm going to give it length. I'm going to hit the dimension tool and then I'm just going to click on one of the lines that represent the height of that rectangle. And then when I click on the line, I click on it one more time. I'm going to, a box pops up. I'm going to enter the number 20 and hit enter. And it made that rectangle that 20 millimeters tall that we were wanting. I am not going to worry about my width right now because every letter is different. And I want to make sure that I always change my width of my letters, of my rectangle, so that it always is a 1 millimeter border going all the way around it. That's going to make things look more uniform. So when I put it together to make a word, each of the letters will always be spaced out the same. And you're not going to have big giant gaps when you have a small letter or very little gaps when you have a big letter. Okay, so again, I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so I can see my rectangle a little bit better. Then I'm going to enter my letter, the letter. So there's a text box right here. I'm going to click on the word text, and then I'm going to click on the rectangle somewhere. And then a box is going to pop up. Right here, where it says 3.5, I'm going to erase that number and type in the number 18. Because my letters are 18 millimeters tall. Then I'm going to come down here and click, and I'm going to write the letter that I want in my first letter, or type it in. I'm doing my name, Kenny, so I'm going to type in a capital K. I want you to use capital letters for everything. If, for some reason, you forgot to change it, you can always highlight it and then change it again up here at a later time. But I want it to be 18 millimeters tall. Now I'm going to hit OK. Now, Inventor, I don't know why it does this, but it puts the letter upside down. It doesn't make sense to me. It's just something that it does. Some of you might be okay. If it's okay, that's great. If it is upside down, I can rotate it by clicking on the rotate button. The first thing I gotta do is I gotta select what I want to rotate, which is my letter K, so it will highlight. Then I gotta select where I want to rotate it by, so I'm gonna click center point and simply just click on a corner of a box, and it doesn't matter which corner I click on. And then I'm going to move it around until it's the correct direction. In my case, it's like this. You'll notice that the box says 180 degrees in it, which is what I want it to say. And then I'm going to click, and then now my number or my letter has been rotated. Once it's rotated, I can hit done, and then there's my letter. So I got to put it in the correct spot now. So I'm going to add a point over here in the top left-hand corner, and I'm going to add one over here in the top right-hand corner. But I got to make sure that those points are 1 millimeter from each edge. So that's where my dimension tool comes back in. So I'm going to hit dimension. I'm going to click on my point, and then I'm going to click on the line off to the left. And I'm going to make that number 1. Then I'm going to click on my point. I'm going to click on the top line, click one more time, and then change that number to 1 also. So there's my box, or my point that's 1 millimeter up from each side. Now I'm going to slide over here to the other side and do the exact same thing. Click on my point, click on the line to the right, place my dimension, change it to 1. Click on my point, click on the top line, go up, click one more time, change it to 1, and now I have a point that now I have 2 points that kind of give me that border going all the way around. So I'm going to move my letter. Oops, I'm going to hit escape a couple times so I get out of my tool. Then I'm going to move my letter to where the top of my K is right on that point. And if I have to zoom in, I will. So notice, I'm going to take that K and I'm going to move it right there where that corner's up there. If you have a weird letter that's rounded and you don't have that nice corner, then make it as close as you can. A good way to do that is to make sure that this dotted line is kind of right on the edge, and then that will allow you to do it. Just be careful that you don't move your letter like I just did. Okay, then I'm going to grab the other corner of my box. I'm going to grab that side, and I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to drag it to where, again, that K is right there on that edge. So this gives me that nice distance all the way around my letter as a border. Once I have my letter in position, I'm going to click Finish Sketch. Now I got to make it three-dimensional. And the way I make it three-dimensional is called Extrude. So I can click Extrude. I'm going to click on my rectangle first. So notice my letter highlighted. I don't want that. I want just a rectangle. It went up. I don't want my letter to go, or I don't want the rectangle to go up. I want it to go down. So I can change that direction right here by either going up, or I can go to the next one and make it go down. So I clicked right here to make it go down. I want that to be 2 millimeters. So I'm going to enter in a number 2, then I'm going to hit OK. Now, everything disappeared. To get it to come back, I'm going to hit the plus mark here, over where it says Extrusion 1 over my browser. Then I'm going to, on the sketch, I'm going to right click and hit Share Sketch. And then now it made it visible again. So it allows me to use that sketch one more time or as many times as I want. Hit Extrude again. This time I'm only going to click on the letter. And notice it came up. If I need to change the direction again, I could go to here. And I'm going to make it 5. And hit OK. Now, if at any time you made a mistake, you can go over here to either one of the extrusions or either one of the sketches, and I can right click and hit Edit Feature to change my height, but I want to go ahead and leave it 2. Or you can right click and Edit Sketch to change anything as far as either the letter or the number or whatever you use or any of the sizes that you want. And then whenever you're done, you hit Finish Sketch. This will be useful when you create your next letters. Now, because I'm doing a mold, I need to do one extra thing. I'm going to make what we call a draft. And a draft is nothing more than a fancy word for I'm going to take the sides of my letter and I'm going to angle them in. And the reason why I want to angle them in, because when I make my mold, if I had them straight, every time I pull that letter out of that mold, it's going to drag on that edge. And there's a bigger chance of me breaking something or ripping something or it being too hard to pull out. If I have them sloped in, then as soon as I pull on it, notice as it's getting wider as I pull it out, I'm no longer touching the side, so it's easier to pop out. That's the whole purpose of a draft. So I'm going to click on the word draft, and I'm going to make it a 1 degree draft. You know what, let's make it a 2 degree draft. So let's make it 2 degrees. So it's going to come in at 2 degrees. My pull direction is the top of my K. And notice you'll see kind of an arrow pointing up, which is what I want. Then my faces, I'm going to literally just click on each of the sides. So this side, this side, this side. Okay, and if I can't see them, I'm going to rotate them. This one, this one, this one. Rotate it a little bit more. This one, that one, that one. And then I got to get this one, and that one. You can tell that I've clicked them all when I click at the top, and you see how it has purple all the way around? It means you're good. So once I've done that, I hit apply. And if you look, you can see how it made an angle. So I have the top right there, and it kind of angles back as it goes down to the bottom. That allows me to pull that letter out easier when I make that mold. Now you are done. So I'm going to go ahead and save it. So I hit save, name it whatever I want. Okay? And there's your perfect letter. Now, to make a different letter, you can start all over from scratch and do it again. Or a shortcut, if you go File, Save As, name it something else. So I'm going to name it as just Test for right now. So now I have this test letter. All I have to do is change my sketch. So I can go right here to where I drew my sketch, right click, edit my sketch, right click on my letter, edit my text, simply change that letter to an E, and then just readjust that letter to where it's making sure that it's hitting all the points. So notice that E's were a little bit narrower, so I'd have to maybe bring that in just a little bit. Finish my sketch, now I have my E done. And then resave it. And repeat that process over and over and over again. I want you to have a bare minimum of 4 different letters. So my name is Kenny, K-E-N-N-Y. I have the K, the E, the N, and the Y. I only have to do the N once. I don't have to do it twice. So if you have letters that repeat, you only have to make them one time. And you're going to keep doing that process until you have made all your letters. 4 unique letters that spell out an appropriate word for school and what you're going to end up making. Okay?